guys, my name is Chantel. Welcome back to my channel and thanks for hanging out with me today. So today we're going to talk about Ace of Diamond Act 2 episode 12. So I guess with this, let's go ahead and talk about the last few minutes of this episode because I really want to talk about it, and that is Sawamura and Okumura. So towards the end of this episode, Okumura is going to catch for Sawamura for a little bit, and I am so excited because this is something that I've been wanting to see for a while, and it gets me really excited because in this episode we do get a little bit of a conversation between Okumura and Miyuki. And as you guys know, Okumura doesn't really like Miyuki for whatever reason. He has something towards Miyuki that I don't understand what's going on there. Basically, he is always trying to one-up Miyuki, so I feel like anything that Miyuki says, it'll kind of go out one ear and out the other. That's just like how I feel right now with Okumura and the way that he's acting. But not saying that it's not gonna like, oh, he's gonna completely ignore him, because he does like obviously take into consideration like what Miyuki is saying, but at the same time he's just like meh, you know? But talking about Miyuki and the conversation that they had, it was kind of interesting just because I really liked what Miyuki had to say, especially with Okumura. You know, he was saying, you know, it doesn't really matter, I don't care about like y'all's situation between you and Sawamura, but point being is that you need to be careful of what you say, especially because you're a catcher. Basically, point being, he told him you need to start acting like a catcher and just not think about yourself. You gotta think about the people around you as well, which is, you know, very captain-like and very Miyuki-like. He's giving him, you know, advice, especially because, as I said in several of my videos, Miyuki is a third year, so he's definitely got to prepare Okumura if he's going to be a starting catcher in the future. Not just him, but also Yui, because he's also on the first ring, so he's definitely gotta work with him too. But we'll talk about Yui in a little bit. Let's just focus on Okumura for now. Anyway, what really stuck with me in that conversation was when Miyuki said, you won't really know what kind of person Sawamura truly is unless you catch for him, which I kind of thought was interesting, and I think is very true, because when you catch for Sawamura, or when you're playing alongside him, or whatever the reason, and you start to get to know him, like you start to realize and see him differently. I definitely think that's true to say, you know, with a lot of our characters. You just start to understand Sawamura a little bit better. But I feel like as a catcher, you're able to get more of a sense of like what type of what type of a person whoever is pitching to you really is. Like, that's just kind of the vibe that I get, especially from Miyuki. He's able to understand people through their plays and stuff like that. Anyway, going back to Sawamura and Okumura, I can't believe they're making us wait another week to see what's gonna happen and how Okumura is going to react to Sawamura's pitches, because I feel like when people catch Sawamura's pitches or see them like right there in front of them, they get like a whole different experience. And I love seeing like everyone's shocked faces, so I can't wait to see the reaction that Okumura is going to give us. Like, it gets me so excited, and I can't believe they left us hanging like that. I was just like, no, like this is the one thing I've been looking forward to the most. So yeah, whatever, I guess. We'll find out next week. But moving on from Sawamura and Okumura, let's go ahead and talk about Yui for a little bit, because I do want to talk about him for just a couple minutes. It was kind of interesting to see him kind of have his own struggles, especially because he can't catch Furia's pitches at all. He's still having to struggle with it. We've seen that, and we haven't really touched upon it up until like now in this episode once again. And it kind of hit him pretty hard, especially when Furia told him, nah, I don't want you to like catch for me. Miyuki's like the only one for me, you know, Furia being Furia. And this kind of like hurts Yui a little bit. He's just like very frustrated, clearly, and he's just like, I need to do better. Like, what do I need to do? And then we get a little bit of his backstory in this episode, which is really interesting because we hear like a bunch of like, I guess I'm assuming they're coaches or whatever, but they're talking behind Yui's back and saying, you know, he's so short, like I'm pretty sure like all the other high schools will want him, but because he's so short we don't really expect too much. Like, people are like constantly talking about his height, and I'm just like, what does height have to do with anything? Like, he's such a good player, like, does that matter? But hearing this, like, ever since then, Yui is like, I always have to continuously prove myself because of how short I am, and people have like no expectations. Like, I don't want them to be talking about just my height. I want them to talk about like other things and like shut them up, which is kind of awesome to hear, but also kind of reminds me low-key of Hinata from Haikyuu. And ironically enough, the voice actor for Yui is also Ayumu Murase, which is Hinata's voice actor, which I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, the whole height thing, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, going back to what I was saying earlier, he is a pretty good batter. Like, he has a lot of force or whatever. I really don't know how to describe it, but he's pretty good. See, like, what I'm seeing, he's really, really good. He's just having to struggle some with catching Furia's balls, but I mean, everybody at first has struggles with Furia being able to catch his pitches. Like, who doesn't? Like, the only one that was able to was Miyuki. Miyuki's the exception, but whatever. Everyone else has to like learn and figure out like how to work with Furia. So I'm not too worried about Yui. Like, yeah, he's frustrated and all, but like, he'll get it eventually. And I'm really proud of him, like, that he asked Furia and Miyuki, like, hey, can I watch while y'all are like doing your thing? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever, just as long as you watch. Because I feel like by doing this, Yui will be able to learn something or figure out something, like what he can do moving on to be able to catch for Furia, because he's like really excited. He wants to catch for Furia, do whatever it takes. But I don't know, I guess we'll see where that goes and see just how Yui improves along the line. Which leads me to my next topic that I would do want to talk about, which is Furia. The Furia did have quite a bit of a focus this episode, and I don't know where we're going with Furia, but it's definitely the vibes that I'm getting in these past few episodes. It looks like we're probably going to get a bit of a character development with Furia, which is kind of exciting. As you guys have heard me in my last video, you guys know how desperately I want something to happen to Furia, and I do talk about this in my podcast, which link will be down below, like little promotion there. But I do mention this in the podcast and all, like how for me to really, really, really like Furia and really appreciate him as a character, I want to see him really grow and be able to see it and see him go through something like really dramatic, to where you can see like, oh yeah, there's a bit of growth right there, not just like very, very subtly as we've seen for the past 2 seasons. So I feel like this is probably the beginning of something huge for Furia. I don't know exactly what it is or what's gonna happen with him, because the way that Miyuki is talking about Furia in this episode, it looks like Furia is like going back to square one because of everything that happened in Nationals, but specifically with Hongo Masamune. It looks like Furia has him all the time in his mind for whatever reason. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but it looks like Furia aims to be like the best of the best and all, but I think he's thinking, in order to be the best, I need to defeat this guy some way or somehow, I don't know what to think so much of Furia and his mentality so far, because it looks like Miyuki said, he's definitely going back and like he's not doing so well, and I'm kind of worried for our boy. Like, oh boy, like how is this gonna affect the team? Because I'm very worried, and as I said, Miyuki does point that out, like this could dramatically affect the team and bring them down, or I don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen. All I know is that Furia's gonna go through something, and he's gonna have to figure out how to get himself back up. But even then, with his pitches going back to square one, he's very, very motivated, clearly. He definitely wants to do better and improve, for sure, but it looks like things are just not working out in his favor so far, based on what I'm seeing, especially with hearing Miyuki's thoughts on this. And it's also the reason why Miyuki decided to catch for Furia in this episode. Like, originally he was supposed to do this with Sawamura, but he like pushed Sawamura to the side, which is I felt so bad for Sawamura in that little bit, and all the first years are looking at him like, damn, like all the looks on their faces are like, I kind of feel bad for him. And oh my god, I felt so bad for Sawamura, because especially when Sawamura says he's like, you know, he's like, I get that he's the ace, like, but I'm here too. Like, I just felt so bad for my boy. I was like, no. I was like, I just wanted to give him a big old hug and be like, it's okay, you're just as important, I promise. Oh my god, I felt really bad though. Also, before I move on, the coaches also do mention this for a little bit and have like their own little discussion about Furia and like where he's at and like if it's gonna cause any problems or whatever. But it looks like the main coach has like no worries at all. He's just like, he's, you know, nationals changes somebody, some like it's gonna change them all in different ways. So basically, like from what I got from the main coach, damn it, I can never say his name right. Kautoka. Hopefully I said it right. That's why I always say the main coach, because I can never pronounce it right for whatever reason. Anyway, point being is like he has like total faith in Furia. He doesn't really think it's too much of a big deal, and I think he knows, you know, better than anyone, like, yeah, he'll come out of this better than ever. He'll get through it. And also he's the ace, so you gotta have faith in your ace, you know? So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the next few episodes with Furia. I'm really excited to see like where this is gonna go and like what turn it's gonna take, because this is gonna be interesting, because it, like I said, looks like he's reverting back to his old ways, but we'll see what happens. And that's pretty much all I have to say with that. And I think the last thing that I do want to talk about before I end this video is Asada. Like, yay, like our little precious bean. Oh my gosh, I like, the more I see of Asada, the more I like love him. Like, he's just too precious, man. I really like that he's starting to feel comfortable around Sawamura. Like, it's so freaking adorable. Like, they play catch ball. Like, it's so cute. I was so happy. And seeing that he actually finally got a good night's rest and he felt comfortable being around Sawamura and Kuramochi. Like, he got dressed and he woke up a little bit later. He didn't wake up like when his alarm went off and just to like avoid them. Like, he was fine and he was happy, and I was just like, oh my god, like, I was so happy for him. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, this is all because of Sawamura. Sawamura may be a little bit pushy and very like out there and energetic, and then, you know, sometimes that might be a little too much, and I'm pretty sure that was a little much for Asada. But I feel like, you know, eventually just seeing this positivity that Sawamura brings, it's one of the things that all of our characters seem to love and they can't help but gravitate towards. And I think that's very, very true with Asada. Like, he just couldn't help but like appreciate this, like, his senpai, and just really getting to know him little by little, and like he's slowly starting to open up a little bit and be himself, which is kind of cool and nice. So I'm like very, very happy for him. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about Asada for a little bit because I was so proud of my boy. Like, he's finally comfortable enough with his roommates. So major win for Sawamura senpai. Oh, it's so cute. Anyways, that's all I really have to talk about with this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me ramble on, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!